Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Faryal from Scrumptious Cakes by Fairy, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make this gravity defying Minecraft cake. So in this video you are going to learn how to make the structure to hold this cake up in the air from scratch, and you're gonna learn how to make two types of edible moss. I have used one on the cake board and then the other around the side and over the cake, and you also going to learn how to make these isomalt lollies at the back of this card topper. So if you want to learn how to make this beautiful cake, then please keep on watching. I'm drilling a hole in a 12-inch MDF square board and then an 8-inch double thick cake card. Drill a hole in 2 cake-inch round thick drums. One is gonna go underneath the cake and one is gonna go underneath the square board. Take a threaded rod and put through the square board. Add the washer and the nut at the bottom, and then add another washer and the nut on the top part. Now make sure that they both are tightened up properly and not loose at all. Glue a thick drum at the bottom of the square board. Take a 10-inch square thick drum and cover it with the baking paper. I'm going to use it for ganaching my cake. Take an 8-inch round thick drum with the hole, add the little bit of ganache and then attach your cake sponge. Add the buttercream layer, then add your sponge, then the buttercream layer, and then you add the sponge till you reach the last layer. And then add the crumb coat of white chocolate ganache. Add a lot of chocolate ganache on the top, and then we are going to spread it down with the palette knife, and then add that board we covered with the baking paper. And now I'm going to add more ganache on the side, and I'm going to use this side scraper to scrape it until we get the very smooth and nice finish. Leave this cake in the fridge until the ganache is set. Roll out some green fondant to cover the board. Brush some plain water to the board. Make a slit halfway down to your fondant so we can attach the fondant to the board easily. Smooth out the fondant and cut off the excess from the sides. Take a piece of fondant and attach it around the nut so you hide the nut and make an illusion of a mount. Smooth it out with your hand. Add chunks of fondant around the board to make an illusion of landscape, and it should look something like this. Take 3 different shades of green coloring, add some water and dilute the colors. Do not mix them together. Dip the sponge into the diluted coloring and dab it onto the board until you get this effect. I'm taking the same 3 colors, but this time I'm diluting with the rejuvenator, and now I'm dabbing with the same sponge to the wafer paper to create the same effect. Repeat the process on the other side of the wafer paper. Make about 4 to 5 sheets, and once they are dry completely, blend them into the food processor. I'm going to use these card toppers. Adjust the height of the nut according to the height of the sword topper. Add the washer, then add the double thick cake card, then add another washer, and on the top add another nut. Now tighten it up properly. Take the same green fondant we used to cover the board and cover the threaded rod completely. Use the water diluted color to paint this part of the fondant, and while the fondant is still wet, attach the sword on the top. Sprinkle the wafer paper mixture over the board and make sure the paint of the board is still wet. This mixture will give more 3D effect of the grass. Once the cake is chilled and the ganache is set, we're gonna flip it back. Add plain water to attach the fondant to the cake. Roll out 1 kg of brown fondant. 1 kg should be enough to cover an 8-inch cake. Apply the fondant very gently. Use the plastic smoother to attach and smooth out the top of the cake, and then slowly go around on the side, opening up the pleats and spreading the fondant out, and slowly from the downwards motion, keep smoothing with your hands. Now use the plastic smoother to smooth out the side, and then take the knife and cut out the excess fondant from the side. To achieve the sharp edges, I'm going to use these acetate smoothers and go around the edges of the cake. Spread some royal icing over the cake card. Use a thick plastic dowel to cover the threaded rod and make sure the height of the dowel is less than the height of the cake. Now carefully lift the cake and push down the dowel. Use the royal icing to attach the ribbon to the cake, and the ribbon will hide the cake board. Color some white chocolate with the green chocolate coloring. Pour the chocolate into the mini chocolate bar mold. I bought this mold from Amazon. I'm going to use some milk chocolate as well to make mini chocolate bars. Take the isomalt and color it with a lime green coloring. On a sheet of baking paper, spoon out the isomalt and make circles. Add the lolly sticks, and I'm going to add some black sugar balls. Now leave it to set. Take the same green colored white chocolate which we used to make the mini bars and do the drips on the cake. Make sure the cake is not cold and it is at room temperature. Spread a little bit of royal icing at the back of the mini chocolate bars and attach it to the cake. Now add the lollies followed by the card cake toppers. Add a little bit of chocolate at the back of the Minecraft cake card topper and attach it at the front of the board. I did make a raised part of that side of the board, so the Minecraft cake topper is a bit tilted and more visible at the front. In a clean dry bowl, add the eggs and sugar and beat with a hand beater until it goes frothy and airy. Then add the vanilla extract and beat again until it goes frothy like this. Should take about 4 to 6 minutes. Now slowly add in your flour little by little and keep folding into the egg mixture. Do not over mix the batter. I will leave the full recipe in the description down below with the measurements, so please check that out. Add 2 different shades of green coloring and a brown. I'm using Pro Gel Olive Green, Pro Gel Holly Green and Pro Gel Brown color. Gently mix the batter. Do not over mix the coloring. It should look something like this in the end. Pour the cake batter into a microwave safe dish. Do not grease the dish. Now microwave this batter into a microwave for about 1.5 minutes. Once the sponge is cooled down, remove it from the dish. Use your hand to break it apart and to give more realistic moss look. Spread some royal icing at the back of the sponge and attach it on the left side of the cake. I'm starting with the biggest piece of the sponge, and then I'm attaching a smaller piece in the bottom and one more bigger piece at the top, and then I'm attaching few more smaller pieces around these 2 pieces, so it's gonna give more realistic look. So here is the finished cake. I mean, look at the wafer paper moss on the board. It looks so realistic. I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial, and if you're gonna make this cake using my tutorial, please don't forget to tag me on Instagram with Scrumptious Cakes by Fairy. And if you like this tutorial and enjoy watching this, then please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And yeah, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.